back with episode number 2 of the reverse coloring book by KENDRA Norton. Oh my gosh, so episode 1 was a breakout hit. I had no idea how much so many of you would enjoy this. KENDRA even came on here herself and commented and thanked me for reviewing the book. I do want to take a moment to thank every single one of you who watched. I am really excited to be getting my channel back off the ground. If you haven't noticed, I've been posting more often and I am finally feeling more motivated to create as a comparison to the past couple years, that is, and to see that you also enjoy something that I really enjoy doing so much, which is art and this coloring book. I do want to make this a regular thing, hopefully, and come back again in a few weeks for another episode. Today's episode is going to be completely Crayola centered. I got this brand new set of retractable Crayola clicks from Walmart. I had never even heard of these. I didn't know they existed. I also have my really old pack of Crayola Twistables from either middle school or high school, I believe. 2006, early high school. These are copyright 2007, so I had these at the same time. These are Crayola twistable colored pencils. I figured I would do one page with each of these, so at least 3 pages, but there may be time for a 4th where I'll throw in a different art supply. There are 50 pages total in this book. In the previous video, I showed probably about a third of those. It was one of these. I kept the rest of the pages a secret. In this video, I'm going to do one of those secret pages in the back, as well as choosing a few that you've already seen. For page 1, ooh, okay, I think I'm gonna do this one for the retractable click markers because it is fairly pastel and muted, so the boldness of the markers will get a chance to really stand out and pop. KENDRA, if you are watching this episode, thank you so much for putting your art into the world and sharing your passions and talents with everyone. If you want to follow KENDRA, go ahead and check out her Instagram. I'll link it below. This is KENDRA's note to everyone, and I didn't read it in the last episode, but I love this quote so much. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have, by Maya Angelou. I find that to be so true. The more I create, the more ideas I end up having. So I hope that the art that I put into the world inspires you to create something new and to continue to do what you enjoy. With that, let's get into coloring. Reverse coloring. First, let's take a quick look at the Crayola clicks. Ba-ba-da. There's lots of pretty colors here, so we're gonna swatch them, just so you can see which colors we have to work with. And so you can know if they're worth getting. Personally, I think the Crayola Super Tips are a lot more juicy and bold, so instead of spending so much money on these click markers, I would recommend those instead. What in the world? There goes Rainbow Order. How is this purple? I'm not sure who let this pass inspection. The color of the plastic versus the ink is not at all alike. How am I gonna tackle the pastel puffs? I filmed the intro before I went on vacation, and that would mean that I had all that time to think about what to create here, right? Well, no, wrong. I had no idea when I got back what I was actually going to draw on here. So instead, I thought about how much these markers look kind of like a tampon. And maybe I should have used them on this page instead. I'm going to be skipping over the open to interpretation page yet again. Maybe next time. The good news is I'm going to do the open to interpretation page in episode 3, so stay tuned for that. I see a shape up here that I'm going in with a magenta outline on. It doesn't look like much now, but I promise there is a concept behind what I'm doing. Now that I have this area outlined with a few different colors of the Crayola markers, I have decided to go in with some other
art supplies as well. See, my Microns have returned. Even though this ball is all blue, there is a little bit of texture inside, and I am taking advantage of that to make it look more interesting. I'm outlining that shape, and now I'm going to scumble the entire background of the orb, or whatever this is gonna end up being. I have talked about scumbling so many times. I don't feel like it's a very widely known technique. I don't really see a lot of people do it. I learned it back in like elementary school art, if I'm not mistaken. It was when we were learning about different ways to fill in or shade areas, such as hatching, cross-hatching, pointillism. There was scumbling, and then of course just normal shading. There's probably others as well. Scumble. It's fun to say. It's actually really fun to do as well. And it's really relaxing because it feels like you're scribbling, but it actually looks fairly put together somehow. While I was rambling, you can now see that I added a kind of pastel rainbow to the inside of this shape, and I just finished it up with orange. It kind of blended a little bit more on its own after it dried, so that's cool. And now I am making some fangs. So it's no surprise that this is some sort of creature, and I don't know why my mind immediately jumped to, oh my gosh, this looks like a creature monster type thing with its mouth open and it's eating something. That does not at all seem familiar, does it? Those two teeth on the bottom were blending in, and I wanted them to be more visible, so I had the terrible idea of using this whiteout pen instead of just going to get a Posca or a Jelly Roll or something. Yeah, no. Luckily it was an easy fix. After that, I was trying to decide how extra I should make this monster. At first I thought about just making a very tiny eyeball, but no, I went in and made a massive eye on top of the body, and I think that this is definitely the right decision. The thing needed some texture, so I put scales all over around the eyeball. What is this even? A water worm? Sea snake? I have no idea. It's just so excited to have found this magic pastel rainbow orb. This is a really fun part because I get to bring the environment to life for Svensson. Svensson the sea snake. I don't know how I thought of that name. Is that from a Disney movie or something? I'm terrible. Sven. Disney. Don't cancel me, but I've only seen Frozen once and I have not seen Frozen 2. So that kind of says a lot about how much I enjoy musicals, which is not much. However, my very favorite movie of all time is Grease, which makes absolutely no sense. Oh my gosh, now that I was talking about Grease, seeing all these things multiply and just appear on the page, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got chills, they're multiplying. But really, these orby things did just heavily multiply. Now I can tell you the story behind this page, which I thought of much after I started, but that's okay. You can develop a story as your artwork goes. You don't always have to come up with a full concept at the very beginning. And actually, I think some of my best pieces have arisen from pure chaos and uncertainty. As we more recently say on my channel now, roll with the flow.
Now we roll with the flow.
It's literally been like 2 weeks. Who here remembers the online game Neopets? I feel like these sea balls, why does that sound so bad? Anyway, they remind me of negs. There are so many different kinds of negs, and I wanted to collect all of them. Didn't even get close. So I'm thinking of this scene as kind of like a video game, and Svensson finally found the rainbow, which is one of the most elusive. Fun fact, Svensson and his horde of colorful balls live under the swamp. There's a layer of swampiness, and then when you get underneath, it is clear and it is colorful, and it is not like poopy pea green and nasty. Percy enjoys it, but it's a lot more pleasant under the sea. I would rather live there personally, even though I don't really like underwater stuff or things in outer space. I kind of draw them a lot because I don't have to go there. I like to stay on land, you know? By the way, here's an example of a few different markers and how only the Crayola ones kind of ghost onto the back. The other ones don't even show, so you technically don't need to put a sheet of paper behind the page, but just to be careful, I always do. These things need to have an S name. Percy the Purple Pepper Eater. Svensson the Snookies? These are Snookies. Snoodle? I've got nothing. That's a type of dog. So Svensson the Snoodle Snacker. Come up with a different name if you want, but I am moving on.
As promised, I'm going to reveal a secret page. I have this chunk of pages here, and it's going to be a surprise to me as well. Okay, this one. Dots? What am I gonna do with dots? I don't know what to do yet.
All right, lots of dots. At first glance, this reminds me of those candy buttons. At first I kept thinking ladybugs. What can I do with these dots? And then I just couldn't find a way to really make their bodies look natural, I guess. So I wanted to do something more geometric, and here you can see, oh my gosh, I forgot to put the paper in the back, but guess what? It didn't matter because these are not bleeding through. I mean, it is not going through anyway. So I am making a bunch of tall rectangles, and by a bunch I mean 5, as you can see here. And now I'm going in with a slightly smaller tip instead of the brush tip. Here you can see I am making a bunch of tiny squares on every single color blob. You get a square, you get a square, you get a square. This was over 200 squares, and don't worry, I didn't count all of them. I didn't waste my time doing that. I just counted up and counted over, multiplied that on my phone. I didn't do much work at all to get that number. If you're really bored, tell me how many of these dots I transformed into little squares. I bet no one will do that, and it's okay. I was happy to be on the final row here. Now I'm going in with a Tombow marker. This is a dark gray, as you can see. And I know some of you are probably wondering, I thought this was a Crayola episode. Why are you using other things? Where are the twistable crayons? Okay, they're coming. The point of this book is not to follow a ton of rules, very sticklery. We don't want to do that. We don't want to be art sticklers. We want to have fun and relax. So anyway, I'm using a lot of different art supplies, but the Crayolas are included. They're kind of the feature. I decided to make each building, if you didn't figure that out by now, these are skyscrapers, and I wanted to make each of them a different color, but kind of like a neutral, so like grays and browns-ish. It kind of looks like there's a halo of light around every single square because the color doesn't fit completely inside, obviously. On the dark gray, it looks a lot more like that than it does on the light gray, but we can imagine. After all 5 of the buildings were completely colored, that is when I finally brought in the crayons. And I'll be honest, this isn't a super creative way to incorporate the crayons. However, the sky was looking mighty boring and it was just dots and white, so why not make a kind of rainbowy gradient background, even though it kind of looks more color blocky because I didn't actually blend the crayon stripes together. I just kind of sectioned them off in the columns that already exist. It looked okay, but I thought to kind of distract the eye from looking at every single color separately, I would put this giant star over, which I really wanted to do with the marker so it could be more opaque, I guess. But since crayon is waxy, nothing would really stay on top of the crayon without scratching off eventually, so I just did a black crayon for this star and the little tiny dashes to make it look like it is shooting through the sky. Ooh, pretty, lots of colors. Not sure how I feel about it. It might be my least favorite page so far. However, it was relaxing to create.
For the 3rd page, I choose this one. I like that there's a more limited color palette here because in the first episode, there were so many different colors in the bunches of flowers that I chose, and this one will be a little bit more chill.
I know in the first episode there were a ton of flowers, and at first glance you would think, oh, Sarah's gonna create flowers again. Well, wrong. Nope. No flowers here, just random blobby creatures. This one is a dinosaur with some floofy hair, and I am holding true to the color scheme of the page as much as I can by just using different shades of yellow, green, and purple. I tend to start in the upper right hand corner quite a bit. I don't know why that is, but my eye is just drawn there. At first I was going to try to turn this into like a video game platform scene, but after coming up with more characters, which I am so sorry for this one, wait for it, I thought it was going to be this cute little guy with butterfly wings, but oh my gosh, instant regret when the face was complete. This creature is what nightmares are made of. I'm so sorry. So let's quickly move on to something a little bit cuter. This little one, oh my gosh, yes. See, that's the move, to put this cute little like kitty cat nose. And she has this beehive style hair, which Chloe Rose Art did something with a beehive in hers, like a beehive hairstyle. I am so excited that Chloe made a video. It's so cool to see how other artists interpret the same pages. We both did the same first like flowery page, so that was fun. I hope that she continues to do the series and that other artists join in here on YouTube as well. And you who are watching, if you want to share your pages on Instagram or wherever, I would love to see what you come up with. So the book was sold out briefly, but I think it's back. I'm going to link all of the products that I use in this video in the description box below. I have Amazon affiliate links that I use, which really help me to be able to make more videos and get more art supplies, but it doesn't cost you anything extra if you use my links. During that spiel, a lot more characters popped up, and maybe you've noticed a common theme. They all have green hairdos. Green hair don't care. I really wanted to come up with a name for all these characters and the world that they live in and a story behind why they have green hair, but I haven't really thought about it too much yet. At first, I was going to make it so the dinosaur was trying to collect a can of green hair dye. I thought that might be a little bit cheesy, so instead I just put this cute little dragonfly here, and I thought the dinosaur could be having a great time just admiring the beauty of his dragonfly friend. I think the ghost might be my favorite character. Let me know which character is your favorite. I don't know if any of these will turn into permanent characters on my channel, but they do have potential. And I do like the hedgehog one. You guys know I'm a little bit hedgehog obsessed because they're so adorable. And last but not least, I did get to the 4th page.
I don't know if I'll end up with a 4th page. Will I? It is going to be this that kind of is similar to the 4th one in the previous episode, but it has colors instead of just grayscale.
I really love how abstract this page is, and it kind of reminds me of graffiti or street art or just like kind of splattering paint on a page. This time I actually found my first shape in the bottom right corner. And I know what you're thinking, oh my gosh, a heart? Seriously, Sarah? Like, that is so unoriginal. There's hearts on the page. I had to. They're cute. Hearts, love, wow. But I hope you stick around to see what these kind of cliche little hearts turn out to be, because I do take this page in a hugely different direction than I have with any of the other pages so far. This is part of my Beautifully Broken art series. If you're not familiar, it's a bunch of different paintings and drawings I've done over time, and even a sculpture that represent us, or more specifically, any person who has gone through something really difficult in their life and are trying to bring the pieces back together. You could be going through something now, you may have gone through something a year ago, 10 years ago, it doesn't matter. Those things that have really affected you deeply, they stick with you throughout your entire life, and there's ways that you can grow from them, and there's ways that you can turn back into the person that you were before or that you want to be, and there's always hope for you to create more positive experiences and create new memories that make you really happy. A little bit about my design choices. I wanted there to be this silver outline to really make the hearts pop and have this metallic feel to them. And I also paid attention to the detail inside, and I outlined all the different colors to create these shapes. And I thought that it really looked like a patchwork heart at this point, and that is perfect because you see all these hearts, they look like they are full and that they are living their best life, for lack of a better term, I guess, or phrase. But when you look more closely, you can see what these hearts have been through and how they have been stitched back together in many ways for many different reasons. Even though they have been broken, all the pieces have come back together and have been made whole again, except for this one in the middle, which is still going through some things. I thought the background looked a little bit boring. However, I didn't want to drag too much attention away from the hearts because I feel like the little details in every heart, as I mentioned, they have a big place in this piece. So I wanted to add some words here, and these couple of lines are lyrics from a really beautiful song that I love, and I think it's so fitting to the actual meaning of this piece. It is the song Starlight by Muse, if you're not familiar, and it is such a beautiful song. So this is your reminder: if you're going through a rough time, don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your goals and your dreams. Keep going. Don't allow your true self to fade away. You're still there, and you will reemerge in time.
We gotta build the suspense before you see this final reveal. So if you have not yet seen my fake cake video or my texture painting video, go ahead and check those out in the description box below and the iCard up in the corner. Now, for the art.
Here it is. I hope you like it. Let me know which of the 4 pages is your absolute favorite, and if you have any suggestions for what I should include in the 3rd episode, let me know in the comment section below.
I actually did order some other reverse coloring books by KENDRA and some other authors, so in the next episode or the one following, I will also include some of those and maybe do some comparisons. Thank you so much for watching. I love this series and I hope you do as well. I will see you very soon in my next video. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye. Oh my gosh, I went and fixed the freaking flyaways.